Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Know you! Rex! Pam Ray! Naomi! Afaciana! Babbler! Monarch Soul! Jojo! Gray eyes! Fill my eyes! Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shift, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press, put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain, like you came in one shape. You won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft door dim. Hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets. Wednesday brace parts and a part sink down the spine. Half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. Then the art as seduction walks off through the smoke. Silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards, wigs, dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves. In our coffins selling art, the ache gets a voice. Ping stands up straight and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the dead boogies way. When the masses sink but the pulses pray. Echoes in the dark go hunting the fear. That thing with no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it. Some water it down, let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dressed smart in rhythm and rhyme. Puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft door dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing, this ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is pause for the pen, this is blood with the net go. This is breath with the backbone, ink with the crown, loud mics like nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom, the line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark, a room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night make it something more. Late night poets. When the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. L&P, we love you. Stay frosty.
You gotta unmute, Pam. Oh,
Why do I have to unmute? It's your show.
it's been a while. Welcome back, my friends. Damn, I'm going on the back end of this. Wow. Yeah, that was yesterday. Holy smokes. Hello, my freaky darlings, and welcome to Late Night Poets After Midnight Show, where you get to take a walk on the wild side. If you're into the likes of Ginsberg, Ferlinghetti, Kerouac, and Morrison, then you're on the right night. But please check out our other After Midnight shows. Sit in with a Fazy and a Babbler tomorrow as they teach you the fine art of becoming part sinner, part saint. And join us every other Friday for Echoes in the Dark with Pam. Now, these shows were designed to shoot and color outside the lines with rich, raw imagery tinged with colloquial language, thereby pushing the envelope to expression and opening up new avenues of thought through pen and voice. So, relax, pull up a chair, and open your minds. My co-host Pam Ray and I can't wait to get into and read your words.
Hello, Rex.
Morning, evening, afternoon.
Well, it's good to hear your smooth voice there. I have to admit, I was a little confused at first. I thought maybe I had the wrong night, but hey. But I tell you,
I had to do that off the cuff. I didn't have my reading board up.
Oh my gosh, I get it. You've
We can't hear you.
after midnight last week, just a regular little vacation for you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, how's life been treating you?
All right. I had to revamp Sundays, so I've been playing with that one.
Yes. Yep. That's kind of like a little disappointing. That you and Jean made good for you had 6 rights on Sunday, and you did almost a 2-hour show off of 6 rights. So, that's good. And yeah, so what's the plan for next Sunday? I mean, as far as what music is going to inspire the.
I've got Mike Horsfall on the docket. I just finished. I had to go into it. He hasn't got. He's got SoundClouds for me, but he doesn't have them all posted. So I had to go in and work out the lyrics and write them all down. But that'll be up soon enough.
Yeah. Okay, well, cool. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know why my second personality decided to suddenly pop on stage. I certainly did not invite her. But I caught that right away. But that sounds really cool. I like that idea. And how about your weather? I mean, Jean got up to 96 degrees today. You had to have been at like 210.
Nope, 90.
Really? So like Jean in Philadelphia was 6 degrees warmer than you.
Yeah.
Wow, that is insane. That is totally insane. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Wow. Crazy. We are our high today was 63, and it was like a drizzly overcast 63. I actually did get out for a walk, and I'm glad I did, because for the past like 3 hours we've been having like heavy rain, and then it's supposed to be heavy rain tomorrow. So I was really glad I got out today and got some stuff picked up that I needed. So yeah, but yeah, definitely good to hear you. And I see that we have Robbie hanging out and T Manzano. Good to see both of them. Hello, guys. Good to see you. Let's see. I should check to see if I've missed anybody. Oh, Monty G is hanging out in the background. Hello there, Monty. Good to
Hello,
see you. I hope you weren't hiding, Monty, because if you were, you've been called out.
He's on the board.
Oh, he is? Okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Hello, and oh, good to see. Yes, I was, damn it. Oh. I honestly wish that I don't even know what it would be like if somebody was actually laughing their ass off. Like, I have this cartoon image of like the butt cheeks just falling off, you know? Oh my gosh. So we got a great lineup of poetry for tonight. It's basically, last week's show that we weren't able to do. We have 4 carryovers from the Jim Morrison show, which, if Robbie wants to call in, that would be, for the carryovers, would be great for him to call in. And, because I know he's a huge Jim Morrison fan. And then after that, we have the contest entries for quotes from Josh Billings. And if needed, because that contest did not get a lot of response, it was like only 8 in the contest. We have the carryovers from the 5/8 Echoes in the Dark, which was the topic of echoes. So, yeah, well, Robbie, you just let me know when you're ready to come on stage and I'll bring you on. But I'm just waiting to see. And, well, I have to say, so far things are going pretty good, Rex. I can see you. You can see me. I can understand you. I am assuming so far you can understand me.
Yep, so far.
So far. Well, I'm sure people will speak up and say something, and then, but at least by now we know if first we have you leave and come back, and if that doesn't work, then I leave and come back. So, I think we've got a rolling plan. Yeah. All right. Well, what do you say there, Rex? Shall we get this ball rolling?
Do it.
All right. I will grab those links and put them where they need to go. One couple more clicks. All right. We have The Worst of It by Marriott Dark. And go ahead, please, Rex.
The Worst of It by Marriott Dark. Let us murder the world. Would that be the worst of it? Drown it in ideology, blood, and intolerance. Would that be the worst of it? We could start a religion, avoid taxes. Would that be the worst of it? Throw open the doors of the asylum. Would that be the worst of it? Turn tyrants into godheads. Would that be the worst of it? Blame everything on everybody. Realize that from space we don't amount to much. We are microbes on a speck of dust in a universe of specks. We live, we die, we covet, and lie to ourselves, but recant on our deathbeds in the last grasping of straws all our atheism, all our nihilism laid bare at the soul's midnight, at our lowest ebb, our non-beliefs suiciding. That would be the worst of it. And boom.
Great read there, Rex. And this was all the carryovers we have were actually not from your most recent contest, but from one that we ran 2 years ago, where it was quotes, various quotes by Jim Morrison. And so yeah, I thought this was a strong write. I gave this one, let's see, did I give it the gold in the contest, I think? Or the bronze? Anyway, if I gave it one, no, it's, why do I always have such trouble telling a gold and bronze apart unless they're side by side? Either way, this definitely got into the top 3. Powerful lines, really hard-hitting and edgy. It really... I like the use of the repetitive question. This is an excellent write that speaks to me on the downfall of humanity, our weaknesses, how we don't look beyond ourselves, and there's this fading of the good in humanity. I particularly like where it said, we are microbes on a speck of dust in a universe of specks. We live, we die, we covet and lie to ourselves, but recant on our deathbeds. Isn't that so true? People just immediately, they want to live their life how they want to live it, and then be sorry about how they treated people on their deathbed. Really amazing write by Marriott Dark, and very well done.
Nice. Well, funny thing is, everything in here has already been done many times over. Well, but the back end hits on the idea of hypocrisy. When it all comes to the back end of things, everybody denies their beliefs as non-beliefs because they all want that passing chance at heaven bound instead of the hell they've created here because of their symposium of idiocracy, their worst mannerisms, alluding to what they wish to see. Otherwise, it kind of works on that idea. Some people just want to see the world burn, and fuck everybody.
Sad but true, Rex. Well said there. And I'd like to welcome Robbie to the show. Welcome, Robbie. Glad you could join us. Oh, I guess something happened
He ain't there.
He dropped. Oh, goodness. Let's see what he says here. Did he say something like, T says, exactly, Rex, exactly.
Cheers.
Get me, and Robbie says, get me back on. Oh, he's being bossy. Okay, Mr. Bossy
Must be
Pants.
feeling better. He's got his assless chaps on.
Okay, I got to try this again because right now it's not giving me the option to add him back on. There we go. Now I can. All right. Here we go. Welcome back, Robbie. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to have to figure out a way to do this better so it doesn't disconnect. Yeah, I was saying some people will just want to watch the world burn, Master Bruce. I was remembering, I don't know if you two remember, but in the Batman movie when they're talking about the Joker and Batman's trying to figure out, well, what's this guy's motive? And and what's his face there, Alfred. He's just saying, well, he doesn't have a fucking motivation. He just wants to watch the world burn. That's all, and that's scary. That's scary when somebody is like that. Like he was actually the Joker in that movie is a good example of that, because he burned all the money, right? The money didn't mean anything to him. And that was like his big F you to the world. You think I give a damn about money? No. He was like the agent of chaos. And I think about that more and more as I think about this poem, and how some people, they are like that. They there's like the comedian in The Watchmen, and they feel like the world is a joke, and they may as well be the punchline. That kind of, this poem it doesn't quite go in that direction, I think, about like the fools of the world like that, but it does remind me of it. It reminds me of that question being posited kind of in the broadest concept, like, what would the world be like if we just didn't follow all the rules and all that. And there's always like this trade-off, right? We think, oh, it would be great in that, but we forget that the rules is what it keeps in all the psychopaths on that, right? That keeps them restrained. So we're in this constant struggle where we're trying to be in a world where we're not overly restricted, and we're not constricted by horrible systems and that have horrible values. But at the same time, you don't want to be in a world where a literal, almost literal Joker-esque type of figure is just running around doing whatever the hell he wants and just like slicing people up in that, right? Where do you find that? So that gives me a lot of this poem gives me pause to think. And you did make me laugh my ass off when you said, "Oh, Rob's being bossy." That really made me laugh. I think you like a little bratting once in a while, but I gotta really be careful, because like maybe a while, maybe a little 2 seconds of bratting here and there's fine. Then after that, no, Rob's got to get back in his place.
Yeah, absolutely. Too funny.
Yeah, somebody whispered in the background, "Are you really wearing assless chaps?"
The curious want to know, right?
He's not saying anything. That's a tell-all.
That's for another show, I guess. A Wednesday night.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh my gosh. All right. Are we ready for the next one there, Rex?
Yep, let's go.
All right. So, up next, 1 click there, 2 clicks here, and up next we have "Neath the Stars" by Betty Page, and it goes like this. Darkness consumes in silence, sweet, mystical existence, magical how Earth's spinning stars cascade, brightly shining, vividly lightning crashes, voltage fierce as bolt smashes, electrifies broken hearts, sharp, sadistic, tainted darts, illuminating chaos. Who am I in the cosmos? Am I just an illusion, rainbow in the dark fusion, waterfalls cascade from eyes, never been anyone's prize? Who will free me from my cell, find the key release from hell? Darkness consumes in silence. sweet, mystical existence, magical how Earth's spinning, stars cascade, brightly shining. Vividly lightning crashes, voltage fierce as bolt smashes, electrifies broken hearts, sharp, sadistic, tainted darts, illuminating chaos. Who am I in the cosmos? Am I just an illusion? Rainbow in the dark fusion? End poem.
Great read, Pam. Thank you very much. All right, Robbie, what do you think?
I think Betty's the perfect person to have for uh for a Morrison write, because she's very unapologetic, and Morrison was too. He lived his life as a pretty much a classic bohemian, right? And he did that, but he wasn't. There was a certain something that he wasn't. That was perhaps the worst part of what a bohemian could be. So that's something that fascinates me about Morrison. Yeah, this poem feels unapologetic in its wondering, I guess you could say, in its self-reflection. She's wondering about her life and what is and what can be, and she's not holding back in it. It has that cosmic sort of wondering, because it's neath the stars, right? And the stars are very much these figures of fate. You know, you think about it, especially in like Shakespearean type of plays, and that how someone's like, you know, wondering, looking up at the stars and saying, you know, what if, or will this happen? And but yeah, it says illuminating chaos. Who am I in the cosmos? Am I just an illusion? Rainbow in the dark fusion. So when it's illuminating the chaos, to me, that's like when you acknowledge the chaos of the universe, it allows you to see it more bare and see it for what can be, right? And that's like how, yeah, it's just a more unrestrained look at the universe, and that allows you to perhaps dive more fully into what you are and what you can be. And she's kind of completely allowing herself to be infused in that, because after illuminating the chaos, she asks, who am I in the cosmos, and is she just an illusion? So that's kind of got that matrixy feel to it, where she's wondering about the authenticity of her own existence. So yeah, again, very good matchup here between Betty Page and the prompt being Morrison.
Nice. Thank you, Robbie. And Pam, what about you?
Yeah, I really liked this one. This was a nice one to bring forward again. The particular quote she wrote to, or lines that she wrote to from this contest, was, "Do you know the warm progress under the stars? Do you know we exist? Have you forgotten the keys to the kingdom? Have you been born yet, and are you alive?" And I think her the philosophy within those lines, the searching of self, the searching for purpose, and your connection, your deeper connection with the universe, really comes through in Betty's poem. But it comes through in a way that it's all her. Like, you can see the connection to the prompt, and yet at the same time, you know, this is distinctly Betty's voice, with the use of repetition and the wonderful imagery. Here she did do something different besides her usual 575 lines, which I like Betty's 575 lines, but I also really appreciate when she does something different, because it shows her versatility as a poet. Just amazing imagery and metaphors. This is definitely an excellent Jim Morrison vibe. I like how this is the search for self within the dark, the idea that you are both dark and light at the same time, with the illuminating chaos. Who am I in the cosmos? Am I just an illusion, rainbow in the dark fusion? I am the light, I am the dark, but I know I have a purpose, but I'm trying to figure out what that purpose is. So wonderful, right, by Betty Page, and very well done.
Nice. It's almost prayerful in its delivery. It's an existential questioning of self within the grand scheme of things. So nicely done, Beth. All right, back on you.
I have to admit, I was hoping for a longer comment than that, Rex, but that's okay.
Well, I think Robbie did most of that, and I just filled in the back.
All right, we'll blame Robbie.
Then when I make a shorter comment, Rex
No, he laid out quite a thought. So.
No, I shouldn't give Rex such a hard time. He gives so many long comments. He's entitled to an occasional shorty. So, there we go. All right. Now I'm gonna.
Besides, I had my Morrison last night.
Did you have a Morrison inspired poem last night?
Yep.
Oh, was that the one you wrote?
Yep.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. What was that inspired by? Was that
just the thought on the first two lines?
Aha. I like that. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, one click there. 2 clicks here. All right. And up next, we have Circus of Humor by Time Teller. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
All right. Circus of Humor. We mix as butter and sugar, and then some, don't we? We divide like saturated and unsaturated, and then some, do we not? I walk in off the street. The bar suffers multiple personalities in lines of chasers that swig, fake identities as a need to survive. The amphitheater grows, crowds point the actors out, and modern curtains draw blanks on audience faces. It's perception. Snow outside this window. Where's the joke? Is she laughing? It's in your stage act, in the script. It's all in your head. When you tell the lion his ego drives his hunger. We bury the monuments of blood and bitches under the creme brulee, too scared and scarred to crack the surface in case we like the innards. There is a brawl at the far side of the pub. A supremacist in a suit whips a Jew, pulling his beard, while a transvestite flirts with his daddy issues. Starts with something said, wrong dialect, wrong way. He forgot he's relaxed, not in control. A compliment really like speaking with the family, using it, not always indicative of what we think. She used it like a real pro. A fight got started slowly, like a chugging train leaving the city. Steaming sounds whistling its intentions with spiraling fists of words and words that stabbed and jabbed below the belt. We all crammed into another room, and Typhoid Mary, smothered in war paint, hands out drinks, shots of Glenfiddich and Southern without the comfort. We swirl around, mixing oil like oil and water, and the multiple body snatchers lurk in the shadows, waiting to cause cuts and bruises. And those lions say, ego in your head. like the supposed voices they tried to say, in a crowded bar of innuendos and rhythmical pauses. Yet those doors never truly open, do they? And what is this pretense of speech? It's how we feel, yet actions belie their drinking smiles. The lady gets up to leave, and all us drinkers sit ignoring her, struggling at the door. Nobody cares. Not me, not I, or he or she. We argue rubbish, talk gibberish, fall off our perches, with our flies undone and trousers falling down. We stumble over tongues left on floors and ale washers wood, stupefying stomachs into blindness and happy fulfillment. I can't see any more than them. We can't feel these nations of flags and their third legs, and have ignored the woman struggling at the street door. Her baggage stuck in her grubby coat caught on the handles, her black stretchers shoes scared from from discard in the posh quarters as she kicks at the door's backside. Its butt wobbles and its faceless windows clear, giving away the meaning outside, a logic of fast, purposeful footsteps, suits and pencil skirts, sensibilities and fixtures like fittings that shine like chandeliers from wrists and fingers, bare thighs toned by silk and nylons, and the lady blunders out colliding with lipstick and powder. IT technicians that followed her, looking for the juicy night beat, delusional feeds and role plays. Here we are alive, still intoxicated. No problems here. No head without a body of liquor. No delusional wisdom of fake paths laid out at the bar, to the bar. Only as it is, screen captured moments of torture, untruths and ballistic missiles of Russians and Chinese viruses, or so we want to believe. Blinking oranges, turning blue on a dongle. I'm not asleep. I know I'm not getting the drink I ordered. He's overcharging, trying it on. And in this place, you don't take it serious. You drink it in, gulp every precious moment. I want my drink, and I'll stamp my feet, even when the bag lady gives me that look. Spoiled brat, get back on the street. Every dog has its poop bag, and yours ain't coming the way you want it. Milk this, she cries, showing her middle finger. Ugh. As she leaves, the barman punches that, another drunk, and hands him his drink and home. I was laughing because when I stomped when I punched the floor to do the stomping the feet, I thought to myself, "Oh no, I hope that doesn't disconnect my sensitive mic." that would be a disaster at the end of the poem. Anyways, end poem.
Great read, Robbie. Thank you very much. That was a pretty long one. All right, Pam, what do you think?
I like this one. This one was actually from a Twisted Tuesday show. I don't usually run Morrison contests for earlier shows, but it just so happened that Twisted Tuesday fell on his birthday, December 8th that year in 2020. So and he wrote to the lines, "We have assembled inside this ancient and insane theater to propagate our lust for life and flee the swarming wisdom of the streets." And I think Time Teller took great inspiration from those lines and made it all his own. Strong, visceral imagery and metaphors. This is definitely one that was worth bringing out again. I like how he provides us with this lineup of absolutely, it makes me think of the soft parade, and it just has this kind of lineup of characters, the good, the bad, the ugly. I like how he shows us this huge snapshot of the chaos of life and the craziness of people, and how we keep trying to mix things together, and like it becomes like oil and water, and and the idea of this constant changing perspective of like, are these people serious, or is this all a joke? Why is the train going off the rails? Why are the actors going off script? It's all this look at the confusion of life, the confusion of humanity. And I think there's great lines throughout, but I did especially like where it says, we all crammed into another room, and Typhoid Mary, smothered in war paint, hands out drinks, shots of Glenfiddich and Southern without the comfort. We swirl around, mixing like oil and water, and the multiple body snatchers lurk in the shadows, waiting to cause cuts and bruises. And those lions say egos in your head, like the supposed voices they tried to say in a crowded bar of internodes and rhythmical pauses. The idea that the true like chaos and ugliness of humanity is in those dimly lit and smoky rooms of the bars where people gather together in those rhythmic pulses. Wonderful lines and very well done.
Nice, thank you, Pam. Robbie, how about you, since you got to read it? Yeah.
Yeah, so towards the end, I was having fun with it. I was like, with the middle finger. I mean, hey, I'm at the ends of the poem, might as well, right? Yeah, this reminds me actually of a bar too. I think they pretty much say it's a bar, but it's like a bar at the end of time, or it's a bar with all the most wild kinds of personality. And when you have the most wild kinds, it is like oil and water, because you have these radical identities, or you have these types of people that are really the most extreme example of any given thing. And I think especially these days with identity politics having become such a thing, it has made it like oil and water, because there's so much, it's put forward so much of, okay, this person is this person is that. And the intent is to smooth things over, but it can actually like make things rougher, because like it shouldn't matter who and what you are. Like it should just be you as a person as a whole, right? That's kind of its own thing. But I was just remembering, oh boy, when this reminded me when I was at a bar once, and I had a friend who he was a great guy, and he was a stereotypical bohemian in the best way possible. But I think I mentioned this one time before. I went to the bar and I saw him, and he goes, "Oh, Rob, I'm high on LSD right now." And oh my God, it's like, okay. And I just knew, I didn't care, I knew he wasn't going to do anything bad, but it's just the wild, reckless abandon, right? It's like, yep, this is what I'm doing tonight. Yeah, so it just made me laugh. And but yeah, very much the bar where, if you go there, you better be pretty self-possessed, because all the people there are going to be in your face about who and what they are. And if you don't accept it, well, lo and behold, what happens to you.
Nice. Thank you, Robbie. I read this as, this would be Worldwide Wrestling meets Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus in the Colosseum of the inner city streets. Why? Because you've got every character alive that you can possibly allude to, and T has alluded to everybody. You got the supremacist yanking on the Jew. You got pretension. You got humor. You got a transvestite flirts with his daddy issues. You got all kind wrong dialect, wrong way. You got an argument boiling out of control on every level. And I do like those opening lines. That thought of we mix as butter and sugar and then some, don't we? Yeah, good and sweet as long as you're walking on the same pages, so to speak. And then we divide like saturated, unsaturated, and then some. Don't do we not? Yes, saturated, unsaturated fats. Yeah, some of it's good for you, some of it's bad for you, and you're supposed to watch out for both. Um, that note of walking in off the street, this bar suffers multiple personalities in lines of chases that swig fake identities as a need to survive. So you're even drawing in notes that aren't even supposed to be there, but they're there anyway. Why? Because they need to escape from the streets. The way to escape from the streets, not because there's wisdom on the streets, is usually death, murder, mayhem, and chaos on the streets. It's at least in a bar, you might get into a fight. You might come across a bag lady rolling around it in the uglies, so to speak. But at least in the bar, they're not really trying to kill you. They're just kind of hashing out their issues in the only way they can in drunken bullheadedness and stupidity. Why? Because it's easy to sit there and roll on that note of, yes, to feed the masses, we have to give them entertainment. And this is one big fucking movie. And we're all supposed to be at each other's throats because it makes us easier to comply to everything else. And that makes us docile and weak-minded. So, cheers to this. I like it. It's irreverent.
Absolutely. Well said there, Rex. Whenever I hear mention of wrestling, I think back to of my childhood in the 80s, the wrestlers there, like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and all of those.
Ric Flair.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
those guys.
Exactly. Oh man, I heard one time, and I don't know if I told you this part before, but I heard one time the funniest story that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson told on this talk show. It was so funny. So his grandfather was a wrestler way back when. And either his father, it was his father. His father was a wrestler way back when. And for some reason, his mother didn't understand that it was fake. So when her father and this other wrestler started, and the other wrestler had his father pinned, his mother jumped on the other wrestler's back. And they had to drag her off of him. And I just think that is the funniest thing ever. But absolutely. Wrestling definitely nostalgia. I had a cousin named Jake, and we used to call him Jake the Snake.
Do you smell what the Rob is cooking?
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
That reminds me of Escape from New York. Snake Plissken.
There you go. Okay, well, it's it appears that we are getting some echoing, so I don't know. Rex, before I put this next one up, you want to leave and come back? We'll try that. All right. We'll just wait for Rex to come back, Robbie, because I'm going to put up this next one for him to read. And takes me a couple clicks anyways. And we'll see if that helps. All right.
I used to like wrestling more when I was younger. I can still appreciate the characters, like the way they sketch out the characters and the characters themselves. But I don't go anymore for like the wrestling itself. But when I saw Dwayne Johnson and the way he was, I knew he was going to become an actor because he just had that sort of presence that conveyed itself very well to transiting to
Back,
acting.
Rex.
Yes.
All right. So I have put up Once Upon a Mind by Jim Bellamy. And go ahead, please, Rex.
Once Upon a Mind by Jim Bellamy. Once upon a mind, I dreamed in a nightmare of a world of eyes and a world of flares. There, where the leaves fell madly from the trees, I sensed eyes cleave into madness and despair. And here there were eyes that slithered in black, and here there were eyes that danced on their backs, and where time loitered and few flew quite away, my memories were cloistered in the eyes of decay. And oh, what a world was here constrained in the eyes of the spheres and the ravaging rain. Ah, what a wasteland was here seen, where the waifs and the strays slid into eyeless dreams, as if from a cloud or some naked place of tears, the shroud of deception serried into fears. Forest forge of metal heroes, deep in dog day crucifix, the arc of summer burns like a torn epitaph with destruction slit in mind. Under domes of lightning, the dreams of summer grind. Codalantin, language in denial, lights what the hearse of God? In which room of leather, under which dark wing of tides, beneath which summer river does the dark avenger ride? Spatial summer, stabbing force suffused inside the head. Wind swiper, sweeping softly, how now shall recusancy tread? What for the metal peoples, the headened Herods under glass? What for steepled engined stones? What for bones beneath the vast? I am the one who opened the sun. I am the one who opened the moon. I am the one who opened the tongue. I am the one who opened the womb. I am the one with eyes on empty. I am the one with Zen tit skin. I am the one with eyes on enemy. I am the one with lizard sin. I am the one with snakeskin sentries. I am the one with snake devise. I am the one with the no on my casket. I am the one with rattlesnake eyes. Spatial summer, endless thunderer, thunder rumber queen, come lend me a penny. Shend away the spheres behind all wonder, thunder rumber queen, come lend me century. Rend away the asp, the abandoned sheet, rend, shend, bend, burn the summer from my meat. I am destruction, a circuit circus, turning endless. I am seduction, the bud of edible demise. 777 is the number on the transept. 777 is the number on the drum. 777 is the number on the signet. 777 is the number on the gun. 777 is the number on the magnet. 777, magenta blood is all. 777, the snake of ash and conflict. 777, the serpent thunder on the crawl. And one day, in opening your door, the strange sun, huh? And Paul. All right, Robbie, you're up first, please.
Wow. It's funny when a coincidence strikes you, and because I've never come across 777 before, but after my concussion, I felt like things changed in some subtle but profound way. My life actually hasn't been the same. All of a sudden, I started making connections with people on that, and I watched this video with like this kind of ambient music. It's more like sounds, like ambient sounds and subtle music in the background. And it has 777 in the graphics. It says, "Welcome to your transformation. This is your new life." And that video has a lot of significance to me. So, and I've never come across 777 before. And then with this poem, it's like, oh wow. So cosmic coincidence there. It's interesting how it ends with because it's like a questioning of that. It's a simple but profound questioning. Like, what is all this? I just had all these thoughts. What's going on here? You know, like the leaves the question completely open. And I am that whole part there. I'm the one who opened the tongue. I'm the one who opened the womb, and and such, especially lizards, sin, and snake skin sentry. I've come across some snake images and that with there's a one spoken word piece that I came across that is very prehistoric, and it talks on prehistoria, and it has like lizards and dinosaurs and things like that, and there's like a power to that, because a lot of those are symbols of spirituality, like a snake being a was that now I'm mixing up what I saw where but I thought I saw earlier today about the snake being like the symbol, yeah, it was somewhere on YouTube, a symbol of like a woman, and then like there's spirituality in that. Then so there's a lot of imagery here, and definitely I'm totally gonna read this again and dissect it, because it reminds me of the poem. It reminds me of the video I saw with the 777 on it, and yeah, this is one of those ones with such potency of imagery, because it gives you so many images, and it's like it would be like Jung would have a field day with this. And whereas Freud would just say, tell me about your mother. But yeah, there's so much powerful, like innate archetypal sort of imagery in here, and just even like if you that's a whole poem in and of itself, or a whole list, like a whole bunch of meaning, a whole world of meaning just in that one stanza, the I am one. So yeah, I love this one. I'm gonna definitely bookmark this and read it again. And yes, Pam, I have the same trouble too. Gold versus bronze, unless they're side by side. A lot of times I'm like, wait a minute, which one is that? But yeah, they think they have
I'm
to.
glad I'm not the only one.
No, it gets annoying sometimes. It's like, did I win a gold or a bronze? I don't know. I want to know. I want to know how validated to feel.
Nice. Thank you, Robbie. Pam, what about you?
Yeah, I sorry. I'm laughing because we were talking about lucky numbers, like because Robbie was talking about 777 being a spiritual number, and Robbie Monty says, I'm going for 888. Eastern culture believes that to be the number of good fortune. And I said, my number is 333 because I'm only half evil. And then Monty had to respond with, that's debatable. Oh my gosh, that is funny. That is funny. But I actually do like, for some reason, for the past couple years, I've been consistently seeing the number 333 over and over again. So I truly believe that the number 333 is connected to my life, or my spiritual existence in some way. I know it sounds odd, but I do truly believe that. I just like to joke around and say it's because I'm half evil, but it really does keep showing up for me. I did like what Robbie had to say about the use of 777, which is a spiritual number. This is a creative and thought-provoking write. I always appreciate I always appreciate Jim Bellamy's writing, in that there's both a flow of consciousness and a structure to it at the same time. I like his use of alliteration. I like his use of repetition, and how he brings in those sounds like the O's and the ahs. I think this is definitely it has a Jim Morrison vibe to it. I will say that also I love hearing Rex's voice with Jim Bellamy's writing. I don't know what it is. It just works so well together. And in fact, T Manzano had commented your reading. I mean, he was really, I won't repeat what he said on air, but he was very impressed with your reading. And I told him, yeah, well, I try to put the two together as much as possible. But I like how this feels like, with the title, Once Upon a Mind, and I dreamed in a nightmare. It feels like all of these images are the nightmares that somebody deals with over and over again. The idea of the oncoming violence, the oncoming end of the world. It also has references to Christ with the crucifix and the I am. The before God was I am, or in the Bible, the connection to that, and the idea, but there's a darkness to this, so it feels like one is trying to find good in this world, trying to find God in this world, and what they keep running into is just this brokenness, this darkness. And I think there's wonderful lines throughout, but I especially like Forest Forge of Metal Heroes, Deep in Dog Day Crucifix, the arc of summer burns like a Turon epitaph with destruction slit in mine, under domes of lightning, the dreams of summer grind, coat a lantern, language in denial, light what for the hurts of God. The idea that the God is being killed over and over again, and by the hedonistic nature of mankind. So excellent, right, and very well done.
Nice. I do like this kind of bit in the middle here. Forest Forge of Metal Heroes, deep in Dog Day Crucifix, the arc of summer burns, like a torn epitaph with destruction slit in mind, under domes of lightning, the dreams of summer grind, coat a lantern, language in the dial. Light, what? For the hearse of God? That note of coat a lantern, coda refers to music. It's an end piece, a closing piece, something that walks off into the ether itself, the end of what was. So, coda lantern, the end of light. And then the next, in which room of leather, under which dark wing of tides, beneath which summer river does the dark avenger ride? Spatial summer, stabbing force of fuse inside my head. Wind swiper, sweeping softly, how now shall recusancy tread? Now recusancy, that note of taking yourself out of the equation, because that hits that night of that note of God, keeping himself out of the equation, because he's given us the note and capacity to think for ourselves into which arena we do walk. And it goes, what for the metal peoples, the headened Herods under glass, what for steepled injured stones, what for bones beneath the vast. I am the one who opened the sun, I am the one who opened the moon. And it's kind of a reference to God. Even in this note of I am, that next I am stanza kind of walks that note of God, even down to the I am the one with rattlesnake eyes. Kind of a note to yes, I can be an angry and all-consuming God, so to speak. I do like the back end of this. It fits well. 777 is a number on the transept. 777 is a number on the drum. 777 is a number on the signet. 777 is a number on the gun. 777 is a number on the magnet. 777, magenta blood is all. 777, the snake of ash and conflict. 777, the serpent thunder on the crawl. Oh, it's a nice quiet note to the idea of 7 being a lucky number. Hits that note of the transept. The drum, I'm thinking of the drum they rolled around Jericho, banged on for 7 days along with the trumpets for the walls to come down. So the number on the signet, that refers to the ring. The magnet, I'd go with the idea of that would be the magnetic sphere of this planet itself. Magenta blood is all. The snake of ash and conflict, that's almost predictory in its nature. The serpent thunder on the crawl kind of hits on that idea of my will be done. And one day in opening your door, the strange sun. That question kind of hits the idea of walking within that noted the doors of perception, because this does walk on that once upon a mind. So how far have you walked into that note of perception spiritually, mentally, and physically, that you can actually open up your mind to realize what is and what is not. So nicely done there, Jim. Thank you. All right, back on you.
All right. So that was the last of our Jim Morrison carryovers. So now we're going to go into rights inspired by Josh Billings. So totally not related topics at all, but I wanted to do something different. And I will admit, I don't know anything much about Josh Billings. I do know from reading and that he was born April 21st, 1818, died October 14th, 1885. And he was a 19th century American humorist and lecturer. So very similar in style to Mark Twain in his writing and his sense of humor. And in fact, if you look him up and you look at his Wikipedia page, there's actually a picture of him, which Josh Billings was his stage name. His real name was Henry Wheeler Shaw, but there's a picture of him, Mark Twain, and Petroleum V. Nasby, who I also don't know anything about Petroleum V. Nasby, so I'll have to look him up too. But I chose Josh Billings because I was looking for something different, and I just really liked his quotes. I looked at the quotes and I thought, you know what? This is going to work for an after midnight show. Now, unfortunately, not many people agreed with me because the contest didn't do well, but it was also April, so they were writing for so many, like, that poetry month contests and all kinds of stuff happening, and so that's all right, and sometimes it's just like that with contests, and especially when things start getting busy. But the poems we did get were just fabulous, I think, in my opinion. So with that being said, we're going to get the ball rolling on poetry inspired by Josh Billings. And we are going to start with one click there and 2 clicks here. And all right, making sure that posted. Yes, very good. All right. So we have The Cost of Being the Court Fool by Bookworm Dave 227. And it goes like this. Court was held, all the king's men, all the queen's ladies. Jokes would be shared, entertainment from the fool, sarcastic, caustic wit from the jester, mass and prayers before merriment, words of praise, words of the prophets, songs of the divine. Food would be served from the known plant and animal world, entertainment from the jester and the fool. All in all, a good time will be had for all. No war trumpets, no pounding drums. Songs to give smiles to all will be attending. End poem.
Great read, Pam. Thank you very much. Well, this walks in that note of merriment and celebration. The meeting of, or at least the conjoining of outlying parties that maybe not see eye to eye, but they do in a room where everything walks on that note of entertainment for those who hold the power. The idea of jesters and fools. They do their little tricks. They tell jokes. They do acrobatics. They were designed solely to keep and entertain, make them smile, and they were also on that note of favored. So they could push the envelope a little bit when it came to the humor, but they couldn't direct a noted challenge, so to speak, at anyone of note. But they could make inferences that would have everybody laughing. So they were kept in that idea of a place of speciality, as long as they didn't venture too far outside their role. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. Well said there, Rex. Um, and Bookworm Dave was inspired by prompts 8 at quotes 8 and 11, which is the best way to convince a fool that he is wrong is to let him have his own way. And you should always live within your income, even if you have to borrow to do so. I've always found the history of the court fools and jesters to be interesting. I remember doing a show on that before, and like as you know, Rex, a lot of the times they were the ones who were the messengers who delivered the bad news because they could say things to the king, the queen, the other royalty, and that other people could not. There was actually one court jester, and I'm sure not all of them could do this, but for some reason, this court jester, his thing was, and I can't remember his name, but his thing was that he would slap the men and ladies of the court, including the king and queen, on the ass. It took all kinds. That is for sure. That is for sure. I like how that for I like the title, first of all, the cost of being the court fool. Like, the idea of, yes, you're entertaining everybody, but they'll never necessarily see you as an equal. You'll always be just for laughs. You'll never be taken seriously. I thought this had wonderful imagery, great attention to detail for a brevity. And I like how, to me, it also speaks on the idea, especially within those end lines, on how oftentimes the humorist, the fool, throughout history, people who have delivered entertainment and humor have helped people forget the troubles they've been facing in dark times. No war trumpets, no pounding drums, songs to give smiles to all will be attending. That idea that even if it's just temporary, that in that moment you can find pleasure and forget all the horrible stuff that's happening in the world. So, very well done.
All right, where are we going next?
That is a good question. Where do we go now? All right. Let's see here. I'm checking something. Okay. Click. All right. We have Intruder by John Poem. And go ahead, please, Rex.
Intruder by John Poem. Intruder. It feels like a landmine under my feet. My world goes silent, except I hear my heart and blood rush pulsing in my veins. My breath grows shallow and shy as my muscles grow tense. Laying in my cold bed in the blind blackness of night, listening to a thief stalking through my humble home. I fight in panic in an absence of action. My mind is a prisoner in a foreign death camp. I must protect my home and family. I have no guns in my house, no weapons to defend myself. As sweat drips from my body, I toss the sheet off my naked skin and rise. A creaky floor came to my aid. The burglar hears the squeak and bolts out the door and into the darkness. I follow to view the assailant from the glass window by my porch. A police car starts and flees. The boys in blue had nothing better to do than stalk me in a corrupt home invasion. And poem. And John took, I do not know what makes cops go bad, but I know they do.
That was
All right, Pam.
actually not the quote, but he that was his own personal observations that he connected with the prompt and with his poem. The actual quote was, "The less we know, the more we suspect," which great read, by the way, Rex. And I think that fits actually very well with this particular quote. This is a great storytelling poem. Um, and I think it takes a strong look. Like it feels fictional to me, and yet it's a fiction that I understand is some people's reality. Sadly, while I have to give kudos to all the good cops out there because they do exist, just like any other line of work, there are also unfortunately ones that are corrupt. You know, this is hard hitting lines, strong visceral imagery. It's a sad, it's a look at the sad reality of those who are supposed to help people going corrupt. And it's not just cops, unfortunately. I mean, you look at what has happened in the Catholic Church with priests, unfortunately, and children, and obviously not all priests. And, you know, they're just throughout humanity, over and throughout history, there have people who have taken advantage of their positions of power, where where they're supposed to be helping those in need. They're supposed to be helping those who are suffering, or guiding, teaching, helping, that kind of stuff. And instead they're bringing a sense of distrust and pain to society. So really, I mean, it, like I said, it reads like a story, and yet it hits hard like reality. So excellent write by John Poem, and very well done.
Well, on that note, have you heard of a reverse exorcism?
I have not. No, what is that?
It's where the devil tells the priest to get out of the child.
Oh my God. You're right. That is horrible. Oh.
All right, this does walk in that note. Yes, it's kind of a crapshoot what kind of cop you get, because they might get trained right, they might get everything they need going in, but it all walks downhill from there, because the trainers are no longer part of the equation. They are the ones in the academies. So this walks then into the precincts and to the councils, the city management, mayor, and how they are not, and even the courts and the DAs. And how they run their realms. So if they're all corrupt, it rolls downhill because once you're inside, even if you're an honest one, somewhere down the line, you're going to get bitten for one reason or another. Maybe shagged up like a Serpico back in the day, or because once you land in an atmosphere like that, you are tainted, and you can't get the stench off you. That's what this reminds me of.
Great observations there, Rex. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I will go grab that next one. All right. Do-do-do. All right. And up next, we have Belief as a Symptom by Lufel. And it goes like this. Bound to the blinds, always one pole askew, sandy eyes peeking through, sunburnt mask, a comfortable trap, believed at last. Color is corrupted, mornings arrive abruptly, perception reconstructed. The sun can't be trusted. Every suspect is subjected, even when respect is expected. I reflect on what's connected, both direct and intersected, all unchecked and infected. I know for a fact I'm right. I'll never give up the fight, laughing with delight, staring into the night, jaw locked tight. Rid the world of this blight. I see through the deceptions. I've gathered my weapons, falsified expressions, called from the heavens, seeing what threatens, bleeding my obsessions, diagnosing transgressions. I've made some mistakes, was convinced of some things, while my head softly aches, the truth really stings. And belief was a symptom of a much bigger issue. I was made a victim and must now submit to. End poem.
Great read, Pam. Thank you very much. It's kind of manic, a dip into walking over the edge, so to speak. That idea of fear and paranoia, and how it bends the mind into particular arenas of thought, which you can't get by on because they're ever present in your mind. You question things, and you question your own. You question the judgment of those because, as it was, yeah, I know for a fact I'm right. I'll never give up the fight, laughing with delight, staring into the night, jaw locked tight, rid the world of this blight, laughing with delight. And that kind of hits on the idea of, yeah, there's a descent into madness. And then that note of, I see through the deceptions, I gather my weapons, falsified expressions, call from the heavens, seeing what threatens, bleeding my obsessions, diagnosing transgressions. You dip that hard into paranoia, rolling down, and that note in the last stanza kind of hits on the idea of, yeah, I went down a rabbit hole, and maybe I should have done a little bit more digging as to what truth is instead of the belief in what I garnered without actually investigating. Because now you got to submit to it because you've done yourself wrong to the point where you've either made yourself criminal or you've made yourself ready for the nut house.
Oh, absolutely. Great observations there, Rex. Yeah, this one was also written to prompt 4, which was the less we know, the more we suspect. I thought this one had not mental health. Sorry, I was reading the AN where he puts the tags as paranoia, fear, mental health, structure, rhyme, and I was focused on mental health. So, but I think this one has such strong lines, brilliant imagery and metaphors. I really appreciate the use of inner and end rhyme. And I tell you, I know I've said this before, but there's something about rhyme that, to me personally, and I know this isn't everybody, but rhyme can soften a poem. So if you can have a rhyming poem that is raw, gritty, and edgy, like this one is, I think you've done a phenomenal job. I like that this speaks on the idea of how the mind cannot let go of the paranoia that lives within it. And yet to me, there's also the idea within the poem that the paranoia is the idea of us realizing a truth that we didn't really want to know, that we were trying to avoid. And I think there's great lines throughout by Lou Fell. But I especially like where it says, color is corrupted, mornings arrive abruptly, perception reconstructed, the sun can't be trusted. Every suspect is subjected, even when respect is expected. I reflect on what's connected, both direct and intersected, all unchecked and infected. The idea of humanity being infected by a lack of trust because of the corruption that keeps happening over and over again. So excellent write and very well done. And now the question is, did I grab the next right? Yes, I did. Now I just got to put it up. All right. One click there. And a couple more. All right. So up next is The Humility of Being Moved by T. Manzano. And go ahead, please, Rex.
All righty. The Humility of Being Moved by T. Manzano. There is an age where your eyes betray you before your mouth ever can. Not openly, not like wolves in old stories, just a flicker. A neckline shifting while someone laughs at something harmless. The pale architecture of a bra strap holding up a world you promised yourself you had stopped needing. I tell myself, don't look. And for one clean second, I succeed. Then gravity wins. My eyes drop like loose chain my eyes drop like loose change through a grate, quick, metallic, impossible to retrieve. A millisecond. Downward, then back to her face, where I find her already watching me return. That is the worst part. Not the looking, the knowing she knows. And afterward, the conversation keeps walking forward, wearing normal clothes, while underneath it, my mind tears itself apart like dogs under a dinner table. Was she disgusted? Flattered? Did some hidden animal inside her feel chosen for a moment? Or did I become instantly another old story women tell each other with folded arms and tight smiles? She gives nothing away. Most people don't. I study everyone Vitel's now. The twitch before a smile, the delayed blink, the mouth trying not to become a mouth. I search faces like a gambler convinced the machine is about to confess, because maybe depravity is not desire itself, but the endless need to know if it was shared, and age makes it worse. When I was younger, wanting felt holy somehow, expected, forgiven before it happened. Now, Desire feels fluorescent, visible in bad lighting. I carry it carefully through grocery stores, through parking lots, through conversations about weather and careers and grown children. This ancient dumb electricity still firing through the body long after the body has become embarrassing to itself. Sometimes I think everyone is filthy underneath, not sexually, worse, loud, lonely enough to want to be seen wanting, and maybe that is what survives aging, not beauty, not lust, but the humiliation of still being moved by it. End poem. All right, Pam.
Great read there, Rex. I think this is just absolutely an amazing write by T. Manzano. I gave him the bronze in this contest. I like the first person narrative, the straightforward style, the imagery and metaphors throughout, and the use of spacing, to give you a sense of pause and reflection. I like that he's willing to write about those things that so much of society isn't willing to talk about. He wrote to his is an amalgam of all prompts that I hate myself for writing. I don't know why you hate yourself for writing, but I'll let your therapist figure that out, T. It's above my pay grade. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, I think this is absolutely wonderful. And I like that it touches on sensuality and sexuality and the natural draw to the physical beauty, the physical pleasures of another person, and how he transitions that from the shame of looking at the physical beauty and having that showing in your eyes that sense of longing for physical touch, to at the end it becomes, as we age and we have that sense of longing, of loneliness, and how it changes, like as you age, like when you're younger you feel like even though it's not necessarily proper, it's kind of like expected. At least this is kind of what I read of it, is like there's this expectation that young people will have lust and desire in their eyes, and then when you become older it becomes that creepy old person. And there's a sense of change, and not that everybody thinks that. I think there's become more and more an acceptance, that older people still have sex drives, that still are attracted to people, to their partners, or to strangers that they run across. And I like the questions that he asks in this. Was she disgusted, flattered? Did some hidden animal inside her feel chosen for a moment? Or did I become instantly another old story women tell each other with folded arms and tight smiles? She gives nothing away. And it's such a vulnerable moment. And I mean for either sex, to share a moment. Like people talk about, like when you meet eyes with somebody and you instantly feel that animal attraction towards each other, and that's all great and fine, but I think the majority of us have also dealt with this kind of situation where you looked at someone with longing, and because you couldn't read their face in return, you didn't know how they felt. You didn't know if you had just made a fool of yourself, or if you had, made their night with that look as much as they had made yours. But the idea that there's that changing that happens as we're older, and we begin to question ourselves and question the desires that we have or don't have. Excellent write and very well done by T. Manzano.
Nice, thank you. I think it's the painted perception of two worlds, and it's easy to see because if you walk in, all right, if you're like that description of what Jethro Tull puts out in the song Aqualung, or blue collar worker, you're seen as something else from the beautiful side, so to speak. But if you're a Leonardo DiCaprio at 55, taking your 24-year-old girlfriend to the Oscars, and by the time the Oscars are over, she's turned 25, and she's no longer his girlfriend because he still wants that one at 24. The perception is different. Why? He's got money, class, and power, while the bum on the street and the blue-collar worker are looked down upon because they are the lowly that have delivered everything to those crusted toppers that don't do any dirty work to begin with. They won't plunge a toilet. They won't fix a sink. Why? Because they don't need to. They don't feel the need to use their hands for anything except playing a part that they already own, or becoming the part for another one that they can already own. So the perception here is how it's looked down upon on one end, while looked upon on the other end is, oh, isn't he the best? Look at him. Cheers. He's got on to another younger girl. Have at it, Bubba. Good luck to you. Same roles with women on that level when it comes to money, power, and the sense of beauty. Perception gets painted.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said there, Rex. Yeah, your comment actually makes me think of, I think of a joke or something I saw, or, a meme, that the difference between money and not having money is that, like, if you're a millionaire and you have a torture dungeon, then, it's all sexy, like 50 Shades of Grey sexy. But if you're poor and have a torture dungeon, then you're a serial killer. It really is, like you said, it's all about that perception. So great observations made. All right. And up next, we have Saints of the Abyss by Shadows Night. And he was nice enough to supply us with a SoundCloud. So I'm going to go grab that. All right. Making sure. Oh, come on here. Got to find the volume first. I'll make sure that's high enough. All right. And here we go.
Down the vortex of bygone ages, we sink and submerge. Forgotten lore sleeps in candleless tombs, amidst dust-bound tomes and prophetic pages. We emerge, oddly shaped silhouettes, dancing in moon-drenched burial rooms. Here we burrow, here we penetrate. cries of it, the faint murmurs of fate. The ancient ground shall break beneath our weight. Otherworldly howls and extinct fables animate. Through the black soil damp flames emanate. The lost key of both worlds is ours to excavate. There, in the farthest corner, a shrouded guide waits. One half bathed in fractured light, the other claimed by the shades. His smiler eerily warm, a figure on two sticks. His majestic tar-like presence slowly cascades. The horsemen of lions, bestower of tricks. There it slumbers, a treasure of kings, beneath a silent rain of black feathers. Thorns dripping slow from gangrened wings, beyond shattered seals and ruptured udders. The relics of forgotten eras and elder things. Down the steep tunnel, hollow and deep, past hallowed ruins, devouring withered scrolls. We delved beyond the veil of shallow sleep, into the primal abyss buried within our souls. Demonic laughter bellows. Exiled At last we emerge. Unlike the men who descended, we float weightless to the surface. Dead eyes gleam wrong and splendid, lit with the sparks of a fiery furnace. All-seeing, cold and wise, the undeniable gleam of hushed invocations, of old fevered dreams. Sworn to our infernal purpose, robed as holy saints, false prophets ascended. We offer kingdoms, our vile service. Yet beneath our gifts live aid, knowledge, wealth, and ancient curses. Our true form revealed, defiled and fallen. Usurpers! Usurpers.
Well done, Shadows Knight. Thank you for SoundCloud. Very much appreciated. All right, Pam.
Oh man, that was fabulous. I mean, well, I give the poem without even listening to the audio first, because I tend to judge I'm writing, not audio. A silver, because it was definitely a fabulous writing, but the choice, the music choice that he used was great, to go with the lines that he wrote. This actually makes me think of that. Just a reminder, Rex, we do have Echoes in the Dark this week. And with that being said, yeah, powerful lines, amazing imagery and metaphors. This has a great flow. I like how this speaks on the idea of those who disguise the truth of themselves and those who see past the mask, past the lies. I like how this speaks of a time in history where humanity is being pulled into the darkness, where it's death and despair, and the idea that wisdom is sleeping as evil laughs. I like the use of ending with the word usurpers. Sorry. I thought that was really cool. I really like where it says, "Here we borrow, here we penetrate, for layless away the faint murmurs of fate. The ancient ground shall break beneath our weight. Otherworldly howls and distinct fables animate. Through the black soil, damp flames emanate. The lost key of both worlds is ours to excavate." This is the voice of those who are somewhere between life and death. They stand on one side of the veil, ready to cross to the next side. And where it says, at last we emerge, unlike the men who descend, we float weightlessly to the surface, dead eyes gleam wrong and splendid, lit with the sparks of a fiery furnace, all seeing cold and wise, the undeniable gleam of hushed invocations of old fevered dreams. A wonderful line. This really speaks on the power of the mind and the idea of being able to speak to the dead, speak to the spirits beyond the living realm. So excellent, excellent right, and very well done.
Nice, thank you, man. Well, this reminds me of two things. First off, love the music, dark, ominous, eerie. It fit the voice as well as the words. Now, two things that had me thinking of this was the scene in Eyes Wide Shut, where they're all in this amphitheater, and you've got a bunch of people on the stage, all in their long black cloaks, and you've got one in the middle standing with this large, kind of like trident, and he's got a face mask on, and he's doing his chant and banging this heavy golden lobed wooden piece on the ground with each note of his chant. And also the bite at how a writer gets so involved in hunting for this single book that offers up that ninth gate, that movie with Johnny Depp, and he's willing to open that door to that which he knows not. Why? Because he's been drawn into the point where he was willing to walk in that darkness and inculcate himself within that realm at the pleasure and behest of what awaits him on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, Rex, we're getting a lot of reverb. If you could leave and come back, please. All right. So I'll wait for Rex to come back before I start reading the next one. All right, couple clicks there. All right. Do. All right, so up next we have Presentable Pearls by Sea Opal. And she wrote to, a man cannot learn to be wise any more than he can learn to be handsome. And it goes like this. To the passenger in a seat, to the passenger in a seat of hope, embarking on lesser vulgarity, culture shock from Nero's hero in the land of the truly dumb. One liar's voice, a braying ass, is taken for sage wisdom, shattered into dripping neon light, reborn of the spawn of ebon night, in which impulses gleaned from wanton bellows, love fractured into colored glass, merely observing fat obsession until my head is filled with mellow gardens. I would sit disrobed of vanity, notwithstanding trickles of sanity, glancing back at trails of memories where reason once reigned, my eye in leopard light, casting once upon a time fragrance, fairy tale cathedral, suspect shrine, a white moon, altar sown divine, whose prayers offered up subliminal flickers of stardust, come down to earth presentable pearls full of slime and rust. And poem. All right, I'm going to bring Rex on and then I'll comment so that'll give him time to look over the poem. if he didn't see it. So here we go. All right. Welcome back, Rex.
Yep.
So did you get a chance to read that poem? I'm guessing not.
I'm reading it now.
Okay, I'll go ahead and comment. Yeah, this one by Sea Opal, I gave her the gold in the contest. I love the flow of this, the imagery and metaphors. I like how it makes me think of the saying, from the Bible, casting pearls before swine. Powerful lines. This is an excellent write on those who walk in suits of vanity, leaving a trail of slimy lies behind them. There is great lines throughout. I think it was a wonderful take on the chosen prompt. But I especially like where it says, in which impulses gleamed from wanton bellows, love fractured into colored glass, merely observing fat obsession until my head is filled with mellow gardens. I would sit disrobed of vanity, notwithstanding trickles of sanity, glancing back at trails of memories where reason once reigned. I like how that speaks on the idea of how we become so obsessed that we lose any sense of reason within our minds. So excellent write by Sea Opal and very well done.
Nice. I like that note of culture shock from Nero's hero. And walks. There's a duality note in that. The thought of Nero being as bad, being the ultimate bad person. Yeah, he was a little loopy, but he wasn't the one who really burned Rome to the ground. He wasn't in Rome at the time, playing his fiddle, so to speak. And they don't bother telling you how he actually walked the streets after he got back. The fact that he was giving out food and comfort to those who did not have homes afterwards. Yes, he did take the land afterwards to build himself a spectacular palace. So you get two ends of a figuration that really doesn't make sense. But then again, when you breed on that note of in-house things, yeah, well, you don't walk a normal path, so to speak. Once upon a time fragrance. Fairy tale cathedral, suspect shrine, a white moon altar stone divine, whose prayers offered up subliminal flickers of stardust, come down to earth, presentable pearls full of slime and rust. You're biting at that notion of a singularity, but you forget what brought it about to begin with. The fact that the system was broken to the point that you need someone who's willing to do the dirty work and take the crap that comes along with it, as a note to it's got to change.
Oh, absolutely. Great comment there, Rex. All right, so we only have one left from this contest, and it's from Ima Rima. So I'd like to put it up and have it read and commented on before we end the show. So let me go ahead and do a couple of clicks here. And all right, it is Change of Opinion by Ima Rima. And go ahead, please, Rex.
Okay. Change of Opinion by Ima Rima. At first, opinions were a mix, but quickly mine be same as her, especially on politics. But now be liberals for sure. But then came 2024 and Trump running for president. I supported him to the core. About this, to my wife kept silent after the election one night. Drunk, I told my wife the truth be I had changed from left to right. My wife's opinion changed of me. Opinion change caused me great strife, apparent when I told my wife. And boom.
Great read there, Rex. Yeah, she was the only one, as far as I know, who wrote to quote number one, which was opinions should be formed with great caution and changed with greater. I think this is a wonderful take on the chosen prompt. As always, I love her sense of humor, the attention to details. This poem makes me think of that line in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The man may be the head of the household, but the woman is the neck, and the neck can turn the head any way she likes. And it's relatable, I'm sure, to many people. um and I like this all the way through, but especially the last three lines. Well, the three lines before the couplet and the couplet, because we oftentimes the truth of our thoughts comes out after a few drinks. Drunk, I told my wife the truth be I had changed from the right to left to right. My wife's opinion changed to me. Opinion change caused me great strife, apparent when I told my wife. Like happy wife, happy life, or something like that. It definitely has a great sense of humor and really clever lines on how different political views as well as different sports teams can often bring strife to a marriage. Not that she mentioned sports teams, but that's what I thought of. So excellent write by Ima Rima, and very well done.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does walk on that note of how it became such a well, even with the first round, both ends where, hey, if you did that, you know what? You're not part of this family anymore, and families tearing themselves apart over a particular view in politics. You know what? Views are differentiated. That idea of opinions. You know what? Everybody's got opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink. So the idea
Yeah.
that yours is better than the next one is just the odoriferous nature of your own stench bleeding through. And you know what? When you run a note of, say, 95% of everything coming out of the mainstream mutants, the media, which is all paid for and run by one side, when you run it a total 95% in negativity, you know what? There's going to be a lot of shit that's flown, and nobody bothers doing any dipping, any needing note to the reality underneath and why it is what it is, as opposed to what you suppose it is.
Oh, amen to
Politics,
that.
politics
Amen.
makes strange bedfellows, and it makes even worse enemies when it comes to families discussing politics. When you get that note of, if it's blue, I vote for it. Don't matter what it is. Okay,
Right,
but then
right.
again, when your blue states, take a look at your big cities. They are stinking to high hell and going down the bloody tubes. They're all going bankrupt. From New York to Los Angeles to Boston to every big blue city in the country, it's run like a communist dictatorship.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it is on both sides. And, it's all about choosing a side rather than thinking about what's best for society. So,
Oh, no,
absolutely.
I mean, and you
Absolutely.
get so single-sided that you always vote blue, and you don't even dig into the note of, what are the politics on? Do they match up to my thoughts? do they match up to what I need to happen? I want to happen. Well, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm going to vote blue. It's okay.
And I also think about values too. Like, does the person's does the politics match up to your personal values? You know.
And when he gets in there and he does the opposite, you got nobody to blame but yourself. So it is what it is.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. But great show tonight, Rex. I am looking forward to whatever it is that you come up with for next week. But awesome show tonight.
Yep. It'll be Anton LaVey.
What will it be?
Anton LaVey.
I have not heard of him. I will have to look that up.
All right.
I'm looking. Is he a poet? Or
no, he's a Satanist.
Well, that should make for some interesting inspiration. I'll have to bring out both 333s instead of just one. So similar to that. Who is that one guy we've done before? I'm so blanking out. Like, I should know his name, but I'm blanking out on it.
Yeah, because he was rampant from the late 19th clear into the middle of the 20th century, and I can't think of his name right now either.
Well, interesting. Yeah. Well, since it's somebody I haven't heard of before, I definitely always look forward to learning about someone new. So, very cool. I hope you don't mind me mentioning that I do need rights for Twisted Tuesday. Anybody listening in, or listening later, the contest is still open. The topic board is up. The contest is open to pre-writes. And it is the art of Albert Desmangles and Haitian proverbs. And I put those two together because Albert Desmangles is a Haitian artist. So please check that out for inspiration and share a new or pre-write that fits with the offered prompts.
Okay, cool. All right, gang. Thank you very much. Come back next Tuesday for another After Midnight. Oh, what's today with Twisted?
I just told you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yes, it is Albert Desmangles and Haitian proverbs. Contest is open to pre-writes. So,
Okay.
All right.
Yes, Alistair Crowley. Or Crowley, as he wants.
That's it. I'm so glad you looked that up. Yes. So he's similar to Aleister Crowley?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, that should make for some great poetry and, very intriguing. Very intriguing. All right. Well, thank you, Rex. Great show, and you have a wonderful night.
Yep. Thank you very much. All right, gang. Good night, and we'll see you later.